Ladies and gentlemen, when the years have blessed your hair with silver and your skin with the lines of laughter, heartache, and wisdom, there comes a sacred moment, a moment when you realize you owe the world less than you owe yourself. In this season of life, your peace is no longer a luxury. It is your very breath. Protect it. Guard it with the same ferocity you once gave to building dreams and nurturing others. You have earned the right to sit in the quiet of your own spirit and not explain a single thing. There comes a point in life when you begin to understand that peace is not something you find outside of yourself. It's not tied to how much money you have, the size of your home, the titles before your name, or the applause that may or may not come from the world. True peace is an inside job. It's a decision you make over and over again to choose yourself, even when the world asks you to abandon yourself for its entertainment. Prioritizing your own peace becomes not just an option, it becomes a necessity for survival, for sanity, and for joy. When you have given enough of yourself to others, when you have been the helper, the fixer, the listener, the one who always showed up even when your own cup was empty, you begin to feel the weight of being everything for everyone. And when the weight gets heavy enough, when your soul whispers loud enough, you know it is time to come back home to yourself. It is time to make peace the loudest voice in your life. It is time to let peace lead. Peace is not loud. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't stomp its feet or wave its arms. Peace is the quiet knowing that you are right where you are supposed to be. Peace is waking up without dread heavy on your chest. Peace is going to bed with a heart unburdened by what others think of you. It is the decision to no longer chase people, to no longer argue for your worth, to no longer exhaust yourself proving things to those who never intended to see you clearly in the first place. Prioritizing your own peace sometimes means disappointing others. It means saying no when you used to say yes just to keep the peace externally while raging internally. It means setting boundaries that feel uncomfortable at first because you were taught that love meant sacrifice, even if the sacrifice was yourself. It means choosing solitude over company that drains you. It means allowing the phone to ring, the text to go unanswered, the expectations to be unmet. Because your peace cannot survive on a diet of endless people-pleasing. There will be those who do not understand. They will say you've changed. They will say you are selfish. They will say you are different, and you will be. Because peace transforms you. It strips away the layers you wore to survive, the masks, the roles, the need to be liked, and it leaves only what is real. It leaves only what is necessary. It leaves you, raw and strong and soft all at once. Prioritizing your peace means you begin to make decisions differently. You don't engage every battle that invites you in. You don't explain yourself to those determined to misunderstand you. You don't chase after validation like a child reaching for candy. You realize that most things are not worth your energy. You realize that protecting your mind, your heart, your spirit is the most radical act of self-love you can practice. There is a quiet power in choosing peace. It doesn't look like standing on a stage shouting about your strength. It looks like smiling to yourself when no one's watching. It looks like drinking your coffee in the morning with no rush, savoring the way the light spills into your kitchen. And it looks like resting without guilt, dreaming without limit, loving yourself without condition. You stop measuring your life by how much noise you make and start measuring it by how much peace you feel when you're alone. You begin to understand that your time is sacred, that your energy is currency. That your spirit deserves to be nurtured, not neglected. This doesn't mean you stop loving people. It doesn't mean you stop giving or caring or showing up. It just means you love yourself first. You give to yourself first. You show up for yourself first, so that whatever you offer the world is not from an empty, broken place, but from a wellspring that never runs dry. The older you get, the more sacred peace becomes. You stop chasing storms and start chasing sunsets. You learn that life doesn't have to be a constant struggle, a constant fight. It can be soft, it can be still. It can be beautiful. You begin to realize that the greatest wealth is a soul at rest. The greatest luxury is a day without chaos. The greatest success is a heart that knows its own worth without needing anyone else to affirm it. And so you choose peace over and over and over again. You choose it not because it's easy, but because you finally understand it's the only thing worth choosing. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every argument is meant for you to step into. Not every call of chaos requires your presence. As you grow older, you begin to understand that your energy is one of your most valuable currencies. You begin to see how much of it was once given away without thought, to places, to people, to situations that only left you depleted. And so you learn that protecting your energy is not about being distant or cold. It's about being wise. It's about being deeply aware that what you allow into your life shapes who you become. Protecting your energy is an act of quiet self-respect. It means choosing carefully where you spend your time, who you allow to sit at your table, who you let whisper into your dreams. You no longer move from a place of obligation. You no longer attend every gathering, answer every call, fix every broken thing that is placed in your hands. You learn that you can love people without carrying their burdens. You can care for others without sacrificing the light inside yourself. There was a time when you thought it was noble to be everything for everyone. You thought being needed meant being loved. But time and experience have taught you the difference. Love does not ask you to drain yourself dry. True connection does not demand your exhaustion as proof. Protecting your energy means drawing a sacred circle around yourself and deciding that only those who honor your spirit can enter. There will be people who do not understand. They will accuse you of being distant, of being selfish, but what they cannot see is the battles you have fought quietly within. They cannot see the years you spent giving away pieces of yourself, bit by bit, until there was almost nothing left. They do not know what it took to rebuild. And so you stop explaining. You stop apologizing for protecting what is sacred. You stop asking for permission to guard your own peace. There is a freedom that comes when you protect your energy. A freedom to move through life without constantly carrying the weight of things that do not belong to you. A freedom to wake up in the morning and feel whole. A freedom to dream without interruption, to hope without fear. You realize that you were never meant to hold the world on your shoulders. You were meant to walk lightly, to live deeply, to laugh loudly. And you cannot do that when your spirit is heavy with everyone else's demands. Protecting your energy does not mean closing your heart. It means keeping your heart open but wise. It means recognizing when to pour and when to pull back. It means knowing when to step forward and when to sit in stillness. You learn to listen to the language of your body, the way your stomach knots when something is wrong, the way your shoulders tense when you are being pulled into battles not meant for you. You learn to trust those signals. You learn that they are not random. They are sacred messengers, guiding you back to yourself. You no longer give out explanations like apologies. You no longer feel guilty for choosing rest over rushing. peace over performance, solitude over company that stifles you. You choose carefully, you choose deliberately, because now you know that everything you allow in shapes your mind, your body, your spirit. And you have come too far to let just anything enter. The older you get, the less you chase. You do not chase love, you do not chase approval, you do not chase belonging. You stand still, you stand sure. You let what is meant for you come to you, because you know that anything you must chase is not meant to be kept. Protecting your energy is not just an act of survival, it is an act of preparation. You are making room for joy, for real love, for the kind of peace that doesn't demand performance. You are clearing the ground for something beautiful to grow. And the beauty you are preparing for deserves all of you whole, rested, radiant, and ready. So you guard your energy, you guard it like a sacred flame. And in doing so, you find a life that feels lighter, freer, more full of light than you ever believed was possible. There is a kind of strength that does not shout. There is a kind of wisdom that does not need to be broadcast. In a world that is loud, in a world that constantly demands a reaction, there is an unmatched power in choosing silence. Silence is not weakness, silence is not surrender. Silence is the quiet confidence of one who knows that not every battle is worth fighting, not every opinion needs correcting, not every attack needs defending. There is power in keeping your peace when the world tries to provoke you. There is power in saying nothing and letting the noise collapse under its own weight. You come to understand, often through great trial and error, that silence can be the highest form of strength. It is the art of listening when everyone else is talking. It is the art of seeing beyond words, sensing the deeper truth behind what is being said, and knowing that reacting to every little thing only drains you of your energy, your dignity, and your joy. Silence teaches you patience. Silence teaches you restraint. It teaches you that your value does not decrease when you refuse to engage. Your worth is not tied to how loudly you can assert yourself or how many arguments you win. When you embrace the power of silence, you stop feeling the need to defend every decision, explain every feeling, justify every action. You learn that your life is your own and it is not on public trial. You understand that the people who matter do not need an explanation, and the people who demand one will not be satisfied no matter what you say. Silence becomes a shield not to hide behind, but to stand behind with quiet pride. There is a special kind of wisdom that only silence can bring. When you are no longer speaking just to be heard, you begin to hear things you once missed. You hear the spaces between words, the truths left unspoken. You hear your own intuition whispering something you had drowned out with noise and distractions for so long. Silence reconnects you to yourself. It is where your soul breathes. It is where your true voice rises, not the voice that pleases or persuades, but the voice that knows. Silence also creates space. Space for others to reveal themselves without your prompting. Space for situations to unfold naturally without your interference. Space for answers to come not from force, but from stillness. You realize that rushing to fill silence often leads you to say what you do not mean, to promise what you cannot give, to agree to what your heart resists. But when you stay silent, you give yourself time. You give yourself clarity. You allow the truth, yours and theirs, to rise to the surface, unobstructed. The power of silence lies in its ability to protect your peace. Every word you speak carries energy. Every argument you enter demands a piece of you. Silence allows you to conserve your energy for what truly matters. It keeps you from being pulled into the chaos of others. It gives you the freedom to choose your battles wisely, to respond rather than react, to stay rooted even when the storm is loud. And sometimes, silence is the greatest teacher. It teaches you about people who respects your quiet, who grows uncomfortable in it, who tries to fill it with noise that demands your attention. It teaches you about yourself, how often you feel the urge to speak, to be validated, to be understood, to be liked. And when you sit with that discomfort long enough, you realize that you do not need to be constantly seen or heard to be valuable. You exist in fullness even when you are silent. Choosing silence is choosing power. It is choosing yourself over the need to be right. It is choosing peace over the need to be praised. It is choosing growth over the need to control. It is standing tall in the knowledge that you have nothing to prove to anyone. And when you master the power of silence, you find that the world's noise loses its hold over you. You become untouchable in a way that has nothing to do with pride and everything to do with inner strength. You are no longer moved by every wave, no longer shaken by every storm. You become the calm in the chaos. You become the stillness that others feel but cannot name. You become powerful beyond words. There comes a moment in your journey when you realize that the need to be understood has been one of the heaviest chains around your spirit. You want it so badly for others to see you, to hear you, to know your heart as you know it. You spent so much time explaining yourself, defending your choices, justifying your dreams. You tried to offer your truth in carefully chosen words, hoping that if you could just say it the right way, someone would finally get it. Someone would finally see you fully and approve. But life, in its quiet, tender wisdom, eventually teaches you that not everyone is meant to understand you. Not everyone is capable of it. And not everyone has earned the right to hold your truth in their hands. Letting go of the need to be understood is one of the most liberating decisions you will ever make. It is the moment you stop offering pieces of your soul as evidence to people who have already decided who you are. It is the moment you stop chasing validation from those who were never meant to walk the full journey with you. It is the moment you realize that your value does not rise and fall with someone else's ability to comprehend your story. You begin to understand that being misunderstood is not a reflection of your failure to communicate. It is often a reflection of the listener's inability to meet you where you are. People see you through the filter of their own fears, their own wounds, their own limitations. They see you not as you are, but as they are. And no matter how many words you use, no matter how much of yourself you lay bare, you cannot force someone to see beyond the walls they have built around themselves. You cannot make someone ready for a truth they are not prepared to hold. So you let go. You release the endless complaining, the endless apologizing, the endless hoping that one more conversation will fix what was never yours to fix. You stop tailoring your life to fit the narrow lens of another's approval. You give yourself permission to be misunderstood, to be misjudged, to be seen incorrectly, and you realize that it does not diminish you. It does not take anything away from who you are. In letting go, you reclaim your energy. You redirect it from chasing understanding to nurturing your own peace. You begin to live for your own soul, not for the interpretations of others. You start choosing what feels right to you, even if no one else claps for it. You start trusting your own knowing, even when the world doubts it. You realize that your journey is yours alone, shaped by experiences only you have lived, lessons only you have learned, wisdom only you have earned. Not being understood is not a failure. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is a sacred sign that you are not meant to fit into every room, every heart, every expectation. Sometimes it is life's way of carving out a space for you to grow without interference, to evolve without the weight of other people's opinions pressing against you. There is deep peace in knowing you are still worthy, even when others misunderstand you. There is profound strength in staying true to yourself without needing an audience to cheer you on. You become free when you stop needing everyone to agree with your path. You become light when you release the heavy burden of needing everyone to approve of your journey. And as you let go, you find yourself surrounded by those few rare souls who do understand, not because you twisted yourself into a shape they could accept, but because they recognize your spirit as it is, pure and unedited. You realize that true understanding is rare, and it is a gift, not a requirement. You no longer beg to be seen. You no longer exhaust yourself trying to be explained. You simply live fully, authentically, beautifully trusting that those who are meant to walk with you will find you in the stillness, and those who cannot will fade into the background where they were always meant to be. It is so easy to look back on your life and see only the mistakes, to count the wrong turns, the missed opportunities, the days spent doubting yourself. It is easy to replay the moments when you felt small, when you let fear make your decisions, when you stayed too long or left too soon. But what takes real courage is to honor the journey you have walked, every single step of it. To honor the way you kept going even when everything in you was tired. To honor the way you stitched your heart back together when it broke in ways you thought it never could. To honor the strength it took to wake up on mornings when hope felt like a distant dream. Your journey is not just the highlights, not just the victories and the smiles captured in photos. It is the private battles you fought in silence. It is the nights you cried yourself to sleep, questioning your worth. It is the moments you stood at a crossroads with trembling hands and made a choice, not knowing if it would save you or break you, but choosing anyway. Every part of your path, even the parts you wish you carry now, none of it was wasted. None of it was in vain. There were lessons that only the hard seasons could teach you. There was growth that only came through pain you did not think you could survive. There was wisdom born from mistakes you swore you would never make again. To honor your journey means to look back, not with regret, but with reverence. To see the young version of yourself so fragile, so fierce, so brave, and whisper, you did the best you could. To stop punishing yourself for it, not knowing then what you know now. Growth is not linear. Healing is not clean. Becoming who you are meant to be is a messy, sacred process. You must honor the fact that you kept showing up, even when it felt like you were getting nowhere. Even when it seemed the world was indifferent to your effort. There were days when your victories were invisible, when simply getting out of bed was a triumph. There were seasons when surviving was enough, when your silent resilience was your greatest achievement. You walked through storms that others did not see. You carried burdens that others could not understand, and yet you kept walking, you kept breathing, you kept believing, even if only faintly, that there was more ahead for you. It is easy to diminish your own story when you compare it to the polished versions of other people's lives. It is easy to think you are behind, that you should have been further, that you should have been someone different by now. But you are exactly where you are meant to be. Every detour, every heartbreak, every delay served a purpose. They stretched you. They carved out space within you for greater compassion, for deeper joy, for real wisdom. Honoring your journey means forgiving yourself for the times you didn't know better, for the times you chose from fear, for the times you needed more healing than you had. It means giving yourself permission to be proud of how far you've come, even if the road wasn't perfect, especially because the road wasn't perfect. You did not have to be flawless to be worthy of celebration. You only had to be willing to try, to grow, to begin again and again. There is a quiet kind of strength in honoring your own story, in standing tall in all that you have survived, in wearing your scars not as signs of shame, but as evidence of the battles you won. You are a living testament to the fact that even in brokenness, there is beauty. Even in failure, there is foundation. Even in endings, there is a beginning waiting patiently to rise. You honor your journey every time you choose to love yourself a little deeper. Every time you soften toward your own story. Every time you refuse to erase the parts of you that were hard to live through but essential to becoming who you are today. Your journey is sacred. Your story is sacred. And the most beautiful thing you can do is stand in it fully with pride, with compassion, and with a heart open to all that is still to come. There is something quietly powerful about realizing that you do not have to earn your place. You do not have to prove your worth with grand gestures or perfect words. You do not have to perform your value in ways that exhaust your spirit. Simply by being here, breathing, existing, bringing your honest self into each moment, you are enough. Your presence is enough. And trusting in that truth changes everything. There was a time maybe when you felt like you had to do more just to be seen, to smile wider, to agree faster, to work harder than everyone else around you. Maybe you measured your value by what you could produce, by how well you could please, by how useful you could make yourself to the people and spaces you wanted to belong to. You gave and gave, believing that your worth was something fragile, something that had to be constantly maintained, constantly proved, constantly defended. But over time, you learn that the spaces that require you to shrink are not the spaces meant for you. You learn that the people who only value what you can give them are not the people who truly love you. You learn that no matter how much you do, if someone cannot see your inherent worth, no performance will change their vision. And you learn that the most profound peace you will ever feel comes not from being praised or validated, but from sitting with yourself and knowing deeply, quietly, without doubt, that you are already enough. You realize that your presence carries something unique, something irreplaceable. Your way of seeing the world, your way of listening, of caring, of laughing, of simply being. These are gifts that cannot be replicated or replaced. You bring a light that no one else can bring. You bring a kindness that no one else can replicate in quite the same way. You bring an energy that touches the spaces you enter. Even when you say nothing at all, and that is enough. You are enough, even in the silence. You are enough, even in the stillness. Trusting that your presence is enough allows you to show up fully without the heavy mask of perfection. You no longer have to craft the perfect words to be accepted. You no longer have to push yourself into shapes that do not fit you. You are free to be as you are, messy, learning, growing, human. You are free to offer your heart without calculation. You are free to rest without guilt. You are free to simply exist without the need to constantly justify your space in the world. When you trust that your presence is enough, you move differently. You listen more deeply because you are not waiting for your turn to prove yourself. You love more openly because you are not guarding yourself against rejection. You give more authentically because you know your worth does not diminish whether it is received or not. You do not hustle for love. You do not beg for approval. You do not barter pieces of yourself for acceptance. And even in the moments when you feel unseen, even in the moments when the world feels indifferent to your existence, you hold on to the truth that your worth does not waver. It is not fragile. It does not depend on applause or acknowledgement. It simply is as constant as the sky, as steady as the tide. You come to understand that you are not here to prove yourself into exhaustion. You are here to live, to breathe deeply, to love fully, to experience the beauty and the ache of this human life. You are here to bring your own flavor of light to the world, not because you must, not because you owe it, but because it is who you are, and that is enough. It has always been enough, even on the days you doubted it, even on the days you forgot. Your existence, your being, your simple, radiant presence, it is a gift to this world. It does not need polishing. It does not need permission. It is in itself complete. Trust that you are enough. Trust it the way you trust the dawn to break after the night. Trust it the way you trust the seasons to change. Trust it not because someone tells you, not because someone else believes it, but because somewhere deep inside you already know.